Hey, what's up guys? Jack and Matt here with the Toasty Bros, and today, well, we're going to be building a PC, but not for the specific purpose of doing a budget build. We're actually doing it to test single channel RAM versus dual channel RAM.
It's going to be a very interesting test that we're very interested in finding out about. But before we get into that, let's hear our word from today's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends.
Are you guys tired of playing really basic mobile games and want something really epic and new?
Well, today's video sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends, might be the perfect game for you.
Did someone say Raid Shadow Legends?
Raid Shadow Legends is a turn-based RPG game that, well, has got me kind of addicted. I just downloaded it on my phone today, and well, I really haven't been that productive in the office. Take a look.
Dude, you know there's like videos to do, right? Like you've been playing for like a couple of days. Okay.
I'm
My
playing.
bad.
I'm playing. God, I just gotta level up one more time.
As a matter of fact, I can't even keep this man off me. He's over here playing the campaign, fighting clan bosses.
Little does he know that I already have it installed on my PC as well, so when we're done with this ad spot, I'm probably gonna go back to playing it. But the graphics on Raid Shadow Legends are actually really awesome for a mobile game, and it translates really well to PC as well.
And if you are interested in downloading Raid Shadow Legends, be sure to click the link in the description down below, because that will give you 50,000 silver and a free epic champion as a part of the new player program to start your journey in Raid Shadow Legends. So thanks again to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get into this video, shall we?
So the reason that we have two RAM kits is because one of these is a single stick and one is dual channel. Now, these are like really the closest we could possibly find. This is two 4 gig sticks of DDR4 at 3000 megahertz, and then this is a single 8 gig stick at 3000 megahertz. So basically testing single versus dual channel, the same speed, same capacity, just single versus dual channel.
Now we're going to be testing that in two configurations. One with an APU, which this is the Ryzen 3 3200G, and also with a graphics card with the same APU, which we're going to be using a GTX 1650 Super. Now we want to see what the impact is going to be on just running APU graphics, which is known to have the biggest impact, but we're going to see if that's actually true. And then we're going to see if you could actually get away with just one stick of memory if you're running dedicated graphics with a Ryzen system. Now for the rest of this system, we're going to be using a couple of components. We have this Gigabyte B450M motherboard, we have a 240 gig SSD, we have a 430 watt power supply from Thermaltake, and we're going to be using the Fantex P300, which is a first time for us on the channel. Never used Fantex stuff before, but we're going to give it a shot. And do keep in mind, if you look to replicate this build, which we're going to be expanding on in a future video, check the links down below, because we did pay more than we wanted to for this setup because of just getting stuff in on time. We might have opted for the ASRock motherboard, which was out of stock for some reason, and the case selection was very limited at the time, so we paid a little bit more for those products. So just up-to-date links down below, and stay tuned for a future video where we're going to be putting together the ultimate APU full setup. So that'll be more on that later. But how about we go ahead and put together the system real quick and then just get into testing.
So in Rainbow Six on medium settings, we are getting a minimum of 30.9, an average of 39, and a maximum of 47.6 FPS. And this, of course, was with single channel at 3000 megahertz, just with the Ryzen 3200G. In Rainbow Six, once we added the dual channel, we actually saw a really big increase. Like we saw 20 plus FPS kind of all across it. So we had a minimum of 44, an average of 57.9, and a maximum of 72.4. And this, of course, is on medium settings, which honestly is actually a playable game on the APU, which we were kind of surprised to see. They must have gotten some better drivers or something, because these are some higher numbers than we're used to seeing. In a game like CSGO, we're kind of just going to show you side by side, but you definitely see a big difference, especially when we're going like through the smoke scenes and whatnot. It still looks really bad, but it's a lot better than it was with single channel. And then of course Tomb Raider, as we expected, it got severely dissed on by Tomb Raider, but that's to be expected with just Vega 8 graphics. We saw a minimum of 3 FPS in the single and an average of about 16, and that did increase by a decent amount once we put dual channel in. We had 28 on the average and only a minimum of 22 instead.
Now, the real test that we were looking at was whether this impact would transition over to having a dedicated graphics card, because we kind of knew going in APUs were going to see a big performance increase. But with the 1650 Super installed, we saw pretty decent improvement overall from single channel to dual channel. So let's go ahead and start with single channel first. In Rainbow Six Siege on single channel memory, we had a minimum of 100 FPS, an average of 178, and a max of 272, running on the same settings as before, running on medium settings, so you can actually see multiple things here. You can see like the improvement from adding a graphics card if you really want to, but it was definitely a big difference in that regard. Because with a dual channel setup in Rainbow Six Siege, we were getting an average of 197.9, which is a close to 20 FPS increase in the averages over the single channel memory, which, you know, we wanted this video to come out saying that if you're running with a graphics card, you might be able to save some money by going single channel, but honestly, with the price difference between going from 1 stick of RAM to 2 sticks of RAM, it makes sense for 20 extra frames. It's like a no-brainer. And the same for the minimums. The minimums are up by 12 frames, and the max is up by like 20 frames as well at 292. And then with CSGO, you'll see the side-by-side comparison here. There you go. You do see a noticeable improvement as well. And then the same thing goes for Shadow of the Tomb Raider. With single channel, we had a FPS of about 48 for the minimum and an average of 72, which is okay, more than playable, but this is on low settings, keep that in mind. And lastly, Tomb Raider had a noticeable increase as well, with the averages of about 84 compared to 72 with single channel, and a minimum of 52 with the minimums of 48 in single channel. So increases across the board, which is pretty good information to keep in mind when you're building a budget system. Of course, with higher end PCs, you're always gonna go dual channel because it just makes sense. But if you're running like a motherboard that has only 2 DIMMs in it, you might be tempted to run 1 stick of memory. But honestly, we really don't recommend it.
Not worth it.
Not worth it at all.
Another thing that I think would be interesting to kind of know is we only tested AMD, which you've always heard Matt and I say that AMD, you know, kind of requires dual channel and it benefits more than Intel does. But I mean, if I'm being honest, I don't have a ton of experience with it. That's just what we've read. So in the comment section down below, if you guys want to let us know if you're running an Intel rig with single channel and you've upgraded to dual channel, do you see a big difference with Intel 2, or is this just an AMD, I guess you could say flaw? Is this like their one flaw is that you can't do single channel?
So overall, we highly recommend if you're building a new PC nowadays, 2 sticks of RAM, really no matter what. If it limits your upgradability, you might want to pay a little bit more for a motherboard that has 4 RAM slots as opposed to 2, but honestly, the amount of frames you're getting for just paying like $3 or $4 sometimes to get dual channel is most definitely worth it.
So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget, of course, to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next one.
Goodbye. Stay tuned for the full setup. It's gonna be coming.
Yeah.